Okay, so now we're gonna basically do the same thing but with real life scenarios, okay? So I have two real life scenarios. One kind of relates to chemistry and one relates to finance, okay? So this first question says element X decays radioactively with a half-life of 7 minutes, okay? If there are 920 grams of element X, how long, to the nearest tenth of a minute, would it take for the element to decay to 264? So let's talk about this formula real quick. And if you want to write this down in your notes, you should. So Y is going to be your final amount, okay? A is going to be your initial amount. T is the time to decay. And H is your half-life, okay? So we're going to plug in what we know. So my half-life is 7, so that's my H. This is my A, and this is my Y, okay? So I'm going to plug it in. I have 264 equals 920, 0.5 to the power of T over 7. So again, we got to get the base and the exponent by itself. First thing I'm going to do is divide by 920 on both sides, okay? So when I do that, let's get the calculator. I'm going to have 264 divided by 920. I'm going to get this number right here. So let's just write a few of the digits. Equals 0.5 to the power of T over 7, right? At this point, to bring the T out of the exponent, I'm going to take the log of both sides. And I'm going to take this shortcut. Now, I'm trying to get the T by itself, so I'm going to divide by log of 0.5 on both sides. And again, this is what I mean by no rounding. So we want to take the log and then scroll up to get your last answer and hit enter. Close the parentheses, divided by log of 0.5. Press enter. We get 1.801 equals T over 7. And then finally, to get the T by itself, I have to multiply both sides by 7. So again, take your last answer, press enter, times 7. So it wants it to the nearest tenth of a minute, so I'm going to say T, sorry, not X, T equals 12.6 minutes. So it takes 12.6 minutes for it to decay to 264 grams, okay? Let's do a finance question, and then we're done. So we have the compounding interest formula, okay? The A is our final amount of money. Our P is our initial amount of money. Your R is your interest rate as a decimal, okay? Now N, this is kind of new, but it's the number of times it compounds in a year. So that means the number of times that they calculate the interest in a year, right? So it might be quarterly, which in that case would be 4. If it's monthly, the N would be 12. If it's daily, it's 365. And then lastly, T is time, okay? So in this question, it says, oh no, it's been cut off. Okay, let me insert it again real quick. Okay. This is getting messy, but a person invests $8,500, so that's your P, in a bank. The bank pays 7% interest compounded quarterly. To the nearest tenth of a year, how long must the person leave the money in the bank until it reaches this amount of money? Okay, now the other thing, it's telling you that it compounds quarterly. So if something happens quarterly, you have to ask yourself, how many times does it happen in a year? The answer would be 4. So I'm just going to write out everything so that we have it. Remember, 7%, you got to divide by 100. So that gives us 0.07. And then, is that everything? Our A is 32,200. So I'm going to put this in the formula now. So I'm just writing it out. Okay, so first things first, just to make my life easier, I'm going to simplify this. So I'm going to do 1 plus 0.07, oops. Okay, 1 plus 0.07 divided by 4. That's going to give me that, so I'm going to rewrite it. So I have 32,200 equals 8,500, 1.0175 to the power of 4t. Remember, we want the base and the exponent to be isolated. So we're trying to get this by itself. So I'm going to divide both sides by 8,500. So 32,200 divided by 8,500. So I get this number. So I get 3.788 equals 1.0175 to the power of 4t. Now I can take the log of both sides, right? So log of 3.788 equals, taking the shortcut, bringing the exponent forward, 1.0175. So I'm going to now, I want the 4t by itself. So I'm going to divide by log of 1.0175 on both sides. And remember, don't round. So I'm going to take the log, and I'm going to scroll up to my last answer, divided by the log of 1.0175. So that's going to give me that. So I have 76.7726 equals 4t. Now my last step is divide by 4 on both sides. Again, don't round. So the time it takes, let's see, what do they want us to round to? To the nearest tenth of a year. So 19.2 years. So it takes about 19.2 years for our money to grow from 8,500 to 32,200. Not bad. Okay, so work on the practice.